AT&T Craft employees, this webinar is tailor-made for you. We're going to be talking about pension planning with Tyson Mavar, one of our senior financial advisors here. But first, hello, my name is Samantha and I will be moderating this webinar. If you stick around after the presentation, Tyson will also be answering some questions, but first I'd like to remind you, we are not affiliated nor endorsed whatsoever by AT&T. We are a completely independent group of financial advisors here, so please keep that in mind as you're listening along. And you will see some links being added into the chat. I will try not to bombard you with them, but they are very useful, so take advantage, one of which may simply be a link to our AT&T specific retirement guide. Another may be a link to book an appointment with Tyson or one of his colleagues if you wish after this webinar has ended. And without further ado, let's bring on Tyson to get this presentation started.
Hi, Sam. Thank you, folks, for attending our webinar series this afternoon. My name is Tyson Mavar, one of the AT&T focused advisors here for the retirement group. And today we're going to be talking about the Craft pension, some of the important considerations as you approach your transition out of AT&T, either into retirement or in another job, as well as make decisions on how to start taking your benefits from AT&T and making also good decisions on the timing of your retirement. We're going to talk about everything that we've found to be important for our clients that are non-management or Craft employees at AT&T. So there's a lot of important factors to understand, and there's many different plans, regardless of when you started at the company, where you started your career with the company. The first thing we want to look at is what pension plan you are on, and then we can start to identify what rules affect you, what are likely some of the important issues that you want to be thinking about as you approach your transition from the company. We're going to talk about a lot today, but just know that our company, the retirement group, has many clients, both management and Craft employees. We've gone through this process many times, and the best first step is to call us so we can ask you a few questions, walk you through the Fidelity website, and point some things out to you so you can start to put together a successful plan for your retirement. So first, let's talk about eligibility. Retirement eligibility at AT&T for most employees is related to what's called service pension eligibility, and also has some criteria for meeting this eligibility, one known as the modified rule of 75. So I'm going to zoom into our table here so we can see this a little bit better. You can see retirement eligibility has to do not only with your service with the company, but also with your age when you leave the company. So if you receive 30 years of service, regardless of your age, you're going to be service pension eligible. But even if you don't have 30 years of service, there's three other ways to reach service pension eligibility that have to do with your age. And although these age and service milestones add up to 75, you have to reach one of these three criteria to be quote unquote service pension eligible and qualify for a bigger pension. That's the biggest thing we're after here. This used to have to do with healthcare subsidy in retirement. For many employees, you will still have a healthcare subsidy if you are under a union contract, and that's something we need to talk to you and identify on a case-by-case basis. But the big issue here is how much money you're going to get in your pension. And by reaching one of these three eligibility requirements that add up to 75 points, you're going to get a big increase in your pension in many cases. So at least 50 years old with at least 25 years of service is one of them, at least 55 with at least 20 years of service, and the last one being at least 65 with at least 10 years of service. Reaching any of those three combinations of age and service will get you your service pension eligibility. And I always encourage people to go on the Net Benefits website. Let's run a pension projection before the date which you believe you will reach this milestone, and then after that date to see what the actual increase to your pension results from attaining your service pension eligibility. That's always a good exercise to go through. Now, the Craft plans are defined benefit plans, also known as formula-based plans, wherein the longer you work for the company, the more pension you get. There's also some age penalties possible in this plan. So what they do is they take your pension band, which is a number that's associated with your job title. They're going to multiply that by your net credited service, your NCS, what is now also known as term of employment, or TOE. And that's going to equate to a monthly annuity, a lifetime pension payable by AT&T to you, but also the potential of some age penalties that are going to reduce that pension. And those age penalties are 6% per year. Every year you retire prior to the age of 55. We'll have a table to go over that in just a moment. The single life annuity is also not the only pension option. You can take a variety of different joint annuity options, as well as a lump sum option, where the company converts your annuity into a lump sum using your life expectancy as well as current interest rates. And that's why we pay so much attention to the interest rates that change annually, but that the IRS updates monthly so we can get an idea of where interest rates are going and how that's going to affect our clients' pension lump sums going into the next calendar year. So here's those age penalty tables. Once you reach 55 years old, there's no more age penalties. As it turns out, as a craft employee, if you get your 30 years of service before age 55, that also will eliminate your age penalties. But if you don't have 30 years of service and aren't yet 55, there's going to be 6% per year age penalties for every year you retire from the company before you reach age 55. Now we have some examples here. We have Joe, age 54, hired in 1992. He was a cable splicer. Pension band was $71.75 for Joe in 2021. Years of service was 31. And his monthly benefit, which is going to be his years of service multiplied by his pension band, in his case was $2,224.25 per month for the rest of his life if you chose to take the single life annuity. And we have Mary, who's 54 years old, also cable splicer, same pension band. In her case, had 25 years of service. And she also had some age penalties, just 1 year of age penalty, which would be 6%. So her formula was $71.75 times 25 years of service minus 6%, or in other words, multiply that by 94%. And you're going to get a pension of $1,686.13 per month for the rest of her life. If you waited another year to retire, not only would that eliminate the age penalty, but it would add one onto her year of service and have a decent increase to her lifetime payout, and something she might want to consider depending on the circumstances. Now, these are the defined benefit plans that we've spoken about, but there's also a cash balance plan. And again, this is why we want to look at which pension plan you're on. If you are on one of the regional plans, the Southwest program, for instance, if you're in Texas, or the West program if you're in California, many different programs around the country. Those are going to be associated with these defined benefit plans that we've spoken about, but there's also cash balance plans. This is for a number of different plans. We have a lot of clients out of Florida and Georgia that are on the Bell South plans that are a cash balance plan and are not only calculated differently, but observe interest rates differently when we're looking at the lump sum. That's also AT&T Mobility. If you're on a mobility plan, you're going to be on a cash balance plan. And there's also some legacy plans that are cash balance plans that we want to get to know before we start telling you how your pension plan works. But here's how these cash balance plans are different. They're going to add up to a cash balance lump sum. The way that they credit these accounts is through both pension credits or pension band credits, as well as interest credits. And the credits are going to add up to a lump sum, but they can also convert it to a monthly annuity if you'd like to take either a single life or a joint life annuity once you start collecting your pension. Now, we have a section of the monthly payment factors table from the summary plan description. These are for young individuals in their 20s. What we're looking at here is the factor that they're going to use to figure out what your annuity is going to be based on your age. And you can see though these go down the older you get, and we cut it off at 27 here, but the older you get, the smaller that factor is going to be because your life expectancy is decreasing the older you get. So the older you get, they're going to divide that by a smaller number, and it's going to be a bigger monthly payout for that single life annuity when you convert it from a lump sum. We also have a table for the pension band credits, and these are based on how many years of service you have with the company. You could see they're banded, so it's 0 to 4, 5 to 9, so on and so forth, up to 35 plus. And then the higher your pension band, the more that credit is going to be. So your credit each year is going to be based on not only your years of service with the company, but also the pension band that is a function, of course, of your job title with the company. Now, the interest credits, they're going to look at the end of each year, and they're going to credit your cash balance in addition to what they credited because of your pension band and service with the company. They're going to credit it based on interest rates. And these are subject to change, but the current rate used is 4%. They're going to apply 4% to the current cash balance account, and it's just going to add, just as if you were investing in bonds or fixed income investments, you get interest on your balance of money that's in that cash balance account. So two ways to grow with the pension band credits, the interest credits, and that's how that pension is going to grow. In addition to your 401k, the 401k, remember, is completely separate from this pension account that we're talking about here. Now, there's some special situations we run into that can complicate things sometimes. If we have somebody who left the company and came back, maybe it was maternity leave, maybe you left the job and didn't take your pension, but you came back, you could have a bridge. If you left the company and did take your pension, on the other hand, it's going to oftentimes force you to start an entirely new pension calculation. And sometimes you'll have to apply for a bridging when you leave the company and come back so that you can have a better pension payout. Ultimately, is what that bridge is going to do for you. You could have been outsourced. Your job might have been outsourced, and that could change depending on what company you left. Every one of those outsourcings worked differently. If you change from craft to management, or vice versa, from management to craft, oftentimes you're going to have two pensions. And while one of those pension plans won't continue to get the pension credits, you could still age out of penalties on those dormant craft plans or dormant management plans. And that's also going to increase your options when you retire if you have multiple pension plans, which many people that we work with, many of our clients from AT&T, had multiple pension plans when they retired from the company. And then also sometimes, I will mention this here, if you had a divorce anytime during your career and as a result have a quadro, a qualified domestic relations order, that can sometimes complicate your ability to run pension projections on the Fidelity website. And oftentimes we'll have to call for a manual calculation as somebody's preparing for retirement to get an idea of what they can expect based on different retirement dates from the various pension payout options that they have available. So what are those forms of payment? A single life annuity, that's going to be the biggest monthly amount for the rest of your life. You have the joint life annuity, which is a lesser amount during your life, but adds income if you pass away to a joint annuitant, typically a spouse, but not always. And then you have a lump sum where you take all of the projected present value of your future annuity streams upfront as a lump sum, which can be rolled over to a qualified retirement account to defer taxes and then withdraw from over the rest of your life, as well as invested over the rest of your life, and then also bequeathed or handed down to a beneficiary that might not necessarily be a spouse, child, family member, an important cause to you. A lot of reasons that people consider the lump sum, but certainly some merits in the various annuity options that we spend a lot of time with our clients with prior to their retirement, so they can have confidence that they did their due diligence, as this is an irrevocable decision once you submit your paperwork for your pension payout option. We want to make sure that our clients don't have regrets on which payout option they took, and there are certainly merits to all these options that we want to cover. Now, the interest rates are going to affect each pension plan differently. So the defined benefit plan, when interest rates go up, your lump sum is going to go down in almost all cases. There's a few exceptions to that, but on January 1st, when the company changes the rates, which are always based on the November corporate bond interest rates, when interest rates go up, the defined benefit plans go down. Now, the cash balance accounts are affected differently in that the lump sum is not affected. And in fact, when interest rates go up, your crediting oftentimes gets better on your annual credits, the interest rate credits each year on your cash balance plan. So the two plans are entirely different from one another, and that's the first thing we recommend identifying is which plan you're on. Are you on a defined benefit pension plan, or are you on a cash balance, or what's also called a defined contribution pension plan? Once we understand that information, then we can back into how your pension plan grows over time, what the timing issues on your plan, what are some considerations you ought to be thinking of as you approach retirement, and many other issues related to your decisions with regards to your pension. Now, there's also a look back period for those of you that are on a defined benefit pension plan, which is most plans, as it turns out, on the AT&T pensions. What this look back period refers to is how the company changes the interest rates that they're using to calculate your lump sum. For example, the look back period for most craft plans, as well as the non-bargained program, which is Legacy S employees and some others at AT&T, they're going to look back to the November corporate bond interest rates of the prior year when you commence your pension. So, for example, here we are in 2024. If I was to retire today and commence my pension benefit tomorrow, which is available for some plans, or the first day of the following month, which is the earliest you can commence on other pension plans, they're not going to use current interest rates of 2024. They're going to look back to November of 2023, use those interest rates, which happen to be higher than the previous 2 years, and that's what you're going to get on your pension lump sum payout. You can, in many cases, defer the election of your pension. However, if I, for instance, retired today but waited till January 1st of next year to start my pension, I could get different interest rates, which could be more or less favorable depending on what happened to interest rates from November of last year to November coming up this year. This is something that we help our clients with in pinpointing the optimal, not only retirement date, but commencement date on your pension to maximize what you walk away from the company with and increase the probability of success in retirement the best that we possibly can. Interest rates have changed over time. There's 3 segment rates that affect the lump sum at AT&T, and up until recently, those interest rates have been quite a bit different from one another. The first segment rate is typically smaller than the second and third segment rate, but they've actually converged recently to where they're all very similar to one another. And they are higher than they've been as long as I've been with this company, close to 14 years. This is the highest interest rates that we've seen for AT&T pension payouts. Now, we still have people taking the lump sum for a number of different reasons, but lump sums have gone down in the last couple of years. And we also have some clients planning to work a little bit longer so that they can potentially get a better lump sum payout. Now, unfortunately, we keep seeing this statistic pop up that 74% of Americans over the age of 50 do not even have a written plan for their retirement. And we at the retirement group think that this is absolutely unacceptable, given the fact that a number of companies, including ours, the retirement group, will do this for you on a complimentary basis, no cost to you, in an effort to get to know you so that you might consider doing some business with us. But more importantly, to help you to add some value into your retirement plan and your retirement strategy so that you might, at the very least, refer us to some of your coworkers if you found value in that exercise. So take advantage of this, folks. It's a complimentary cash flow analysis we do for you. Let us know if you've never done one. If you'd like to have one done, or even if it's just been a while since we've updated yours, let us know so we can get that updated, because a lot has changed in this last year, not just specific to the AT&T plans, but also in the tax rules that affect retirement accounts we want to make sure are incorporating into your plans. That's all we had to cover today, Sam. If you do have any questions that came up today, we'll go through as many as we possibly can on today's webinar.
Thank you, Tyson. Yeah, we're just going to answer a couple questions. We'll try to keep this short. This first one, I'm employed at AT&T. After converting a Roth IRA, how can I avoid paying taxes on my withdrawals? And do I have to abide by any rules?
Yeah, good question. There are some rules on that. This is the Roth conversion specifically, not to be confused with a contribution into a Roth IRA, different rules. You want to, in almost every case, wait 5 years before you start pulling from these Roth conversion dollars. That 5 years is going to allow you to have a tax-free distribution on both the earnings and the contributions, what you put in from the traditional IRA, presumably. And you're also going to avoid penalties as long as you are 59 and a half at least when you start pulling money from those. So those are the 2 criteria we look at, 59 and a half as well as 5 years since the conversion. And each conversion is evaluated on a separate timetable. Something else to keep in mind on that. Oftentimes, we recommend our clients hold on to those Roth dollars as long as possible. And sometimes we recommend investing those dollars more aggressively as a result of that, because if we assume that the time horizon for that money is longer than compared to, for example, your traditional IRA or your 401k dollars, having more time on our side, we might want to earmark the longer term investments like stocks, the more aggressive investments for that timetable and in those Roth accounts. So oftentimes we don't encourage people to take money out of those accounts in the early years of retirement anyway, but all those things are evaluated on a case by case basis. But those are the two big ones: 5 years and at least 59 and a half before you start tapping into those Roth dollars in most cases.
All righty, Tyson, thank you. I think in an effort to respect everybody's time, we're just going to do one more. I'm 57 years old and I worked in craft for 11 years before moving into management for another 12 years. Is my pension somewhat impacted by the interest rate, or does it have an overall impact?
It's going to depend which plans you're on. It's possible that both of those, in fact, it's likely that both of those plans have an interest rate impact. For example, if you're in Texas, started out District 6, Southwestern Bell, converted to management, now you're on a non-bargain program pension, which, as it turns out, is the career average minimum plan, CAM plan for short. Both of those are defined benefit plans. Both of those are affected by interest rates. And even though your former craft plan is not growing based on your years of service that you continue to gain as a management employee, you are doing two things. You're both aging out of penalties if you're not yet 55 yet. So it could be growing as a result of that. And it could also be growing or shrinking as a result of changing interest rates. Even though it's a dormant plan, the timing of your retirement and more specifically the commencement of your pension are going to impact both of those plans as a result of the current interest rates the year that you commence your pension. There's other plans, however, if that was a cash balance craft plan, that would work completely different. So we'd have to log into Fidelity, look at the titling of your pension plans, and then identify how each of those plans are affected by interest rates as well as a variety of other variables.
All righty, Tyson, that was all we had time for today. Thank you, Tyson, for your time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We hope you join us for another webinar soon. And also take advantage of those links. Book an appointment with Tyson or one of his colleagues if you wish. Talk to them specifically about your concerns. And thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Tyson.
Appreciate it, Sam. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your week here.